Ba-da-ba, 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 ba-da-ba. This is gonna suck. There's no getting around it. But this is not the end. It's not the end of this. It's not the end of this. Might be the end of this one. I have been putting off this video ever since I got the news. I haven't really known how to say it. I haven't wanted to just say nothing but sad stuff, but that's what it is. I have been given a week to get out of the drop ceiling area back here, and I've been given till the beginning of February, which is less than 3 months, to get out of all of this. And I don't know what the I'm gonna do. Yeah, so let's talk about it. You know actually what I'm gonna do? And this might sound counterintuitive. I'm gonna hang this Allard sign. This poster from the historic races at Laguna Seca, California, August 16th and 19th, 1990, a year before I was born. Got this shipped all the way from Maine, or was it Maryland? I think it was Maryland. I've been wanting to hang this on the wall for the past 2 weeks, and tonight I am gonna do it because I want to finish that. About a month ago, the previous landlord gave me notice that the building had sold. I was assured by the previous landlord, who I know from other walks of life, like the historical society in town and things, that I had nothing to worry about. So, I asked him several times as the deal got finalized and went through. I said, hey, do I have anything to worry about? Do I need to start looking for a place or something? And the previous landlord was like, no, he's giving me no indication that he's doing anything with your space. So that Monday, I called the new landlord and left a voicemail, and I heard nothing for 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks, until this past Saturday, when a guy drove up, got out of the truck, and walked over to me and introduced himself as the new landlord. And the next thing he said to me was, you had better start looking. And that kind of set the tone. He also said, I'm not an asshole, which is how you know someone is not an asshole. Well, I bought a strong enough chain, if it can hang from one of them. Do your chain hang low? No. It's almost level. Wow. I never really got a chance to say anything. I eventually volunteered that I'm an automotive journalist, that I've been here for over 5 years, that I collect cars, and that it's my business, my hobby, my life. And it fell on deaf ears. He didn't really care at all. He was just talking about all the cool things he wanted to do with the place and how excited he was to have it and how he bought the entire complex specifically to get that building, and that had been the plan from the start. It actually is directly between the brackets that Katie and I measured on the wall here for where one of these 5 photos would hang. It would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of a row of these posters I've collected and kind of start making it look, I don't know, organized in here. As if that's going to fool anybody. Not bad. And then he gave me the aforementioned 1 week to get out of the back drop ceiling area. He actually said immediately. And I said, what do you mean by immediately? Do you mean like a week? What do you mean immediately? And he said, oh yeah, a week would be great. And then I said, okay, what about the rest of the shop? I've got a lot of stuff here. This can't be moved overnight. I'm going to need like a flatbed and box trailer and a bunch of stuff that I don't even have. And he said, you'll have until at least February, March timeframe. I'll give you my word on that. And then in the email he sent me recapping our call, he changed that to February 1st. So now it's February 1st that I have to be out of the whole shop. That's less than 90 days. You know what? I can improve this. Hang on 1 second. That would help. Here's the drop ceiling area here. We've got the Fox. We got all kinds of stuff. A lot of these parts are for the Avant. That's part of my subletter. Here's the Avant. And then we have these rooms, which are, again, largely full of parts for the Avant. That's a diff, exhaust, skid plate for the A4, pallet jack. You have a pallet jack. Engine stand, tires, windshields for the BMW, all that kind of good stuff is in here. This one we got a roof rack box that I never did anything with, roof rack. More shelves I haven't built, pedestal fan for when it gets hot or cold, more cardboard to lay on the trunk for the BMW, that kind of thing is in here. And in this room here we have although I don't technically have to move this room yet. More parts. Rear seats for BMW, cover for the Avant, skid plates for A4. This big thing back here is another transmission diff for the Avant. Doors for the BMW, Volkswagen parts, doors for an Avant, or door cards rather, yeah. All kinds of stuff. Vacuum. I will say, it is kind of, don't skip steps on step stools. Don't do what I'm doing. It is kind of nice to just be able to drill a hole in the wall every time I want to hang something. Just grab the drill and go, and then it's on the wall. Whoop, shit. That is a neat part of this shop. Metal walls. There we go. How's that? Better? Worse? Probably worse. I mean, it's a horizontal banner hung vertically, but yeah, gets the point across. Unfortunately, the guy was pretty unceremonious as well. At one point, he walked in here and he said, "You sure got a lot of shit in here." And he didn't mean it like, there's a bunch of shit in here. He meant shit. Probably banner came from some part of Canada. The Allard poster, original to the 1990 Laguna Seca, signed by the artist, came from Maryland. The MGA banner came from Indiana. The DKW sign, I don't remember. The Audi 100 LS grill, I don't remember either. I think it came from Minnesota. The BMW parts sign was actually somewhat local. And then random hubcaps that I found on the side of the road. And Katie's Girl Scout sign. People often ask me, what kind of car are you looking to get next? Or what kind of cars are you into? And I say, I'm into everything. It's not about, it's a BMW 2002. It's this BMW 2002 that speaks to me, that calls me. And now it's this one that I've had for over 10 years, and I've got so much history with it that it is truly part of my family at this point. I will say, I don't think it's like legally enforceable to ask me to move out of part of it in like a week. I don't think there's any way that he can do that, so I'm trying to get a little more time out of it, but the end is near for this. He made it very clear to me that when he bought the complex, his intention was to take over this building, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And I have no say because I am but a renter. I am on the peasant scale of the totem pole, you know, landlords up here, at least in this situation anyway. For the past 5 years, I have been running and gunning, and for 4 of it, it was all I could do to get through COVID and to get through the aftermath of COVID, in which I was unemployed, and to build up a career and, you know, fix my mental state. My mental health was horrible. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you all. I've struggled a lot with my mental health over the years. A lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of just lack of confidence of why I'm doing any of this and why it matters at all and why anybody but me cares about all this stuff. And this place has been a bit of a sanctuary for me. It's been a place where this stuff doesn't matter. This was my refuge. This place was where I came every time I was feeling bad or down or sad or like nothing mattered. I would come here and be surrounded by these stories and these living, breathing machines, and I would look around at all the happy, smiling, round headlight faces, you know, and I would say, this is it. This is what life is about. I used to come over here at night when there weren't so many cars, and I would ride a bicycle in circles in here in the dark. I'd have like one light on like I do right now, and I would just take in all the angles and all the shapes and all the dramatic curves. Like I'd look at the Spitfire and the haunches on the front like that. I'd look at the angular, boxy, folded paper designs of the Fiesta and the Volkswagens. Just take it all in. Just allowed me to fall in love with cars in a way that I never thought I would be able to. To have this little enclave of weird foreign cars in the middle of Missouri has been, it's been a dream. And it's not one that I want to say goodbye to. I actually used to work right over there in the gazebo. I used to have my office set up. That's what that desk is for, and the monitor. That was my office. I came over here and I was surrounded by cars and motorcycles, and I would work, and I'd take a 5-minute break and go wrench on something and go back to work. Not only that, but Katie and I had our first date here, which, I mean, now, I will say, this is never going to work for you, and it shouldn't have worked for me. Do not get on Bumble and match with a girl and say, hey girl, I got this warehouse down a dead-end gravel road. You should come hang out with me at the warehouse. That's probably not going to go well. Katie probably knew she might get killed. I don't really know why she said yes to it, but it's been, what, 4 years now, something like that? I should probably know that. How do I know it's been 5 years and 2 months that I've rented the warehouse, but I don't know when we started dating? Tells you my priorities, I guess. But anyway, you might be saying, oh, well, just go get into the shop. You know, it can't be that hard. For the past couple days, Katie and I have been driving around day and night, just trying to find any property that we may have overlooked in our 33 years of living here. Like, this town is not an industrial town. I live in the capital of Missouri, Jefferson City. There's really no industry here. There never really has been a lot of industry here. There are a few warehouse buildings like this, but this was a pretty rare find. When I found this building in 2019, it had been sitting vacant for about 9 months. I got an incredibly good rental rate on this because it had been vacant for so long. And I think, to be honest, the original landlord just liked what I was doing. And instead of seeing the place sit vacant, he decided to rent it to me for a lot less. So the first thing I did was get a couple subletters. Without the subletters, I would not have been able to afford this. I took a leap of faith on myself and on my ability to find some subletters to share the space with me. And luckily I did. The point with that is I've been paying way less than you probably think for a space like this. If you're from California, from Florida or whatever, you probably think I'm paying thousands of dollars a month. Not even $1,000 a month. And once you take the subletters rent out of the mix, I'm hardly paying anything at all for this place in the grand scheme. It's a lot of money, especially for somebody like me. Like, I'm not wealthy as shit. Like, I'm not like a millionaire or whatever. You know, I don't come from like a wealthy family or whatever. So like, this was the absolute end of my budget. And in typical me fashion, if you know me, I spend every last dollar I've got on cars and bikes and signs. So I've kind of lived on a shoestring budget for all 5 years that I've been at this place. Just enough money in my bank account to go get the Spitfire, just enough money in my bank account to go get the Avant, you know, having to borrow money to get the Sequoia and, you know, taking out a loan on it. Like, my point is, like, I can't just go buy something. I've been working my butt off to get myself in a position where I could take a sabbatical from work and just run off of savings for like 6 months. To start finally putting videos together, start finally getting some of these cars on the road instead of just buying and putting them away. And I got to that point about 2 months ago. So I left a major client, left 75, 80% of my income, and now this. So that is, that life, boy, it just keeps coming, you know? It, yeah. The new landlord is of the mind that my rent should be double. He's not going to raise my rent as of now, but he did say he's of the mind I should be paying double. Anything that you're going to get like this is zone commercial. Hardly anyone has ever built a house around here, let alone built one and then sold one. So there's not really a lot of houses to choose from. But there's also not a lot of garages or shops to choose from either. And certainly no warehouse spaces like this. I've got, as far as I know, one of the only ones in town, and certainly one of the only ones on the market right now. We've thought about condensing the collection down and paring it back and trying to get a down payment to buy a property to start building a shop. Because there's a lot of things I would do. I would like build in the Zesto sign into the wall so it doesn't have to hang freely and crash one day and destroy a car or whatever. Like, you could build that in, you could build better HVAC in, build some windows and skylights in to help with heating and cooling and all that, and like build a different electrical pattern in here so you could plug in signs without having to run cords, and like, you do all kinds of stuff, right? The mezzanine's kind of weird. I would have designed it differently. Like, this is far from my perfect building, and I certainly have plans in my mind of what a perfect building would be. And I also have a really good friend, Scott, who's an architect, and said, I will build your house one day. So I would love to give Scott the opportunity to do that. But again, I don't have a money tree. So my dad's worked over here with me. All my good friends have worked over here with me. My driving clubs that I'm part of have been able to come here and socialize and see it. And I love all of that. And I want to do more of that too. The next step for this space was eventually, you know, time, you know, notwithstanding, going to be some kind of museum. Clean it up, start putting signs up, which I have been doing, as you can see. Clean up, the storage area and get it back there, which I have done, and get the Zesto sign up on the wall, and really start making it like an attraction. Not sure if that would be a museum or if that would be like, just sort of a hub for like car enthusiasts to hang out at, or what it would be. But I want to do something that gives back to the community, because I don't know how many of these cars people say, oh, I haven't seen one of those in 20 years or 30 years. Or you get young people in here, like me, who say, I've never seen one of these in my life. I have all these dreams. I have all of this that I want to do in my mind. And it all, in my mind, requires a space. Maybe not a 50 by whatever with, 40-foot ceilings and a big bay door or whatever, but it requires space. And without the space, I don't know what I'm going to do. Even to get a down payment for something right now, I'd have to sell several of the things in the shot, and I just have not come to terms with that yet, to be honest. It's got me thinking about what I would sell if I had to sell something. Fox comes to mind. It's been sitting for, longer than I've had this shop, actually. I've never done anything with it. I've had the parts the whole time. Maybe it's time for someone else to enjoy it. The Toyota, I've had this plan for 3 years to build this Tercel into a Gambler, and I just never did it. So I've actually already put this one up for sale. Is there some stuff I could do without? Yeah. I've been collecting these bikes because they've been $1 or $2 at auction here and there, and I used to work at a bike shop and I love bikes, and so I've been putting bikes in the shop because I have a shop and I've got plenty of room. And anytime an auction would come up, Katie would be like, do you need another bike? And I'd say, well, got the warehouse, I'll just put it in the warehouse. And anytime a car came up, they're like, where are you going to put it? And I was like, in the warehouse. And then now there's no warehouse. So yeah, maybe no more bikes either. There are some that I think I could fairly easily wrap my head around letting go of, but that list is pretty short at this point. I don't know. I don't want to think about that yet. So we know that any property in town that is large enough to hold all of this right now is double the rent. I don't have that money. We know that any property to purchase in a zoned commercial space is like $1 million. I don't have that money. We know that the few houses that are around here that are zoned residential but have like a shop space that's even half this size are like $600,000. I don't have that money. So I don't, at this point, I can't confidently tell you this isn't the end. I can't even tell myself that. I hope it isn't. The thing that has really kind of warmed my heart, and the reason that I'm able to give you this information without crying, to be honest, is that I have just been so supported and so loved by anyone who's gotten this news. And you know what all those people have said? It's not about the space. It's about the passion. It's about why you're doing it. All of this could happen without this space. People make do with one-car garages or no-car garages or a carport or whatever. It's not about the space. It's about my love of cars. It's about wanting to share all of this with other car people, which, if I'm going to believe that, I guess requires me to believe in myself, which has been a lot of this. Been a lot of the struggle with this, if I'm honest. Just believing that it's all going to work out, and that what I'm doing is valid with or without everything you see back there. That I'm not that, I guess, to put it succinctly. It's not been easy, but growth seldom is. It's always worth it, though. Here's the plan. Over the next 10 weeks, we're going to make a series of videos, 2 a week, showcasing the past and present of my whatever this is here at the shop. Hoarding, I guess you will. The past is going to consist of cars like the Ford Fiesta and the Spitfire that I've already had on the channel and that I shot a long time ago. And the present is going to be cars that maybe I got a month ago. Maybe I shouldn't have bought a month ago. Maybe I bought 5 cars this summer. And maybe I wouldn't have bought 5 cars if I knew I was about to lose the shop. But what can you do? Don't have a crystal ball. We've got an arc already planned and I've got the footage already shot. Just need to get it all together and do the voiceovers and things. And that's going to coalesce right around the time that I'm supposed to be moving out of this place. January, February, already going to be kind of a weird time, I'm sure, but maybe I'll come to you from 24 storage units at that time. That would be ridiculous. Look, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what happens to this. I don't know what happens to any of these. But I do know one thing. My passion for cars is not going anywhere. If this is the last time that I get to film a video like this in this space, if these are the last days that I get to have with this little dream of mine to be a car hoarder and car collector, if you will, then we're going to make them count. I've been shooting videos for the past 5 years. Haven't edited very many of them, but we're going to get to that too. So, in the meantime, I put together this little taste of what you can expect over the coming 10 weeks. They say the Grand Tour is hiring. What a dream. Over the coming 5 weeks. Nope, that's not it. Why can't I just say words, you know? Boy, really limping through this one, aren't we? I don't know what the hell to say. I don't even know if I'm in the shot. This might really suck. Or it might not. There's no way to know, right? Could be the best thing to ever happen to me. This could be the smallest my collection ever is, or maybe it's not about size at all. That's what I always say anyway. Can't put that in the video. I don't see a way that this, in its current form, continues. But what will continue, and I can promise you this, is my love of cars. That's been there since I was a wee lad, and it's not going anywhere. Am I Irish now? I don't know. I'm getting off track here. I don't even know what I've said and what I haven't said. I'm sorry if this video just makes no sense and is the most boring thing you've ever seen. The truth is, I am Iron Man.